What's up, Penn Staters? And thanks for tuning into the Football Letter podcast. This week, we welcome letterman tight end Isaac Smolko, the starting tight end for the 2005 Big Ten championship team that won 11 games and defeated Florida State in an epic Orange Bowl. Isaac earned his bachelor's degree in kinesiology in 2006 from Penn State's College of Health and Human Development. Isaac continues to have an impact. He's in Florida with his wife and their three girls, and he works as a senior account executive with Acera Surgical. We are going to talk to Isaac about his time at Penn State, his time in the NFL, and so much more. Isaac Smolko, welcome to the Football Letter podcast. We are so thrilled to have you today.
Hi, Sam. Happy to be here. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
So, Isaac, as most fans, or probably at least some fans are aware of, you grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, crossed the border to Pennsylvania, as many prep players in Ohio are want to do. What time during the recruiting process did you think about Penn State, and how did that process unfold for you?
Yeah, at the complete end of the process, that's when I thought about it. I went on my visit to Penn State to satisfy my mom. She wanted me to go out there. I grew up a Buckeye fan. I was. But after making the trip and going there and going to different places, when I got to Penn State, when I got there and just felt the environment and everything there, the way it looks, it's in the middle of nowhere. I grew up on a farm, and I just felt like it was home. That's why I made that decision. I had no intentions of going to Penn State at all.
So what were the conversations with mom like then leading up to that time? And were you surprised that you had that type of response when you were on campus?
I was. So conversation, the only reason I even ever kind of agreed to it is she wanted me to go to Notre Dame, and I did not like it at all. I went there, did a football camp there. I just did not like it. It was boring to me. I had no interest of going to that place. So this was kind of my consolation, like, hey, I'll at least go and visit Penn State. Because it was down to me. It was Michigan or Ohio State, and it was probably going to end up being Michigan. So when I got here, I was surprised. I didn't know what I was getting into when I came on campus there. I didn't realize it was so rural around the area. I'd never been there. I had no idea. So for me to get there and feel like I was at home was definitely a surprise to me. And, I think mom and dad, they loved, just the Joe Paterno side of everything. Joe was a great coach, obviously a legend. So that made it easy for me to accept that offer.
And you arrived at Penn State during a time where the program was having a resurgence. What do you remember about kind of the vibe around the program when you got here, and then to reach that level where you finished, 11-1 and number 3 in the country?
Yeah, so we were. I think the year before that year, that was what LeVar and Courtney Browns. They went 1-2 the year before I got there. I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So there was a lot of hype around that, and a lot of movement forward for the program. I got there, and then I felt like it kind of stalled for a while, but it took, I think my senior class was a big part of just kind of turning everything around with the way we finished number 3 in the country, just all of that. I think also at the time, that was a transition of Joe stepping back, meaning when I first got there, Joe was still heavily involved in everything, at least from the player's perspective. He probably still was just as involved in the back end, but from the player's perspective, he was still heavily involved. And going into my junior year, it seemed like then, at least he kind of took a step back where his coaches ran things more often than he did, and he took that CEO role. I think that CEO role we saw a lot of coaches in. A lot of coaches take. I think, one of his friends, Bobby Bowden, was in that role when he retired, kind of more that CEO side of things. And that's when I think a lot of things started just going in the right direction. It gave him a little more focus on the overall view of the program and the way we were going, and let the coaches focus more on kind of the X's and O's of everyday football.
When you look at that 2005 team specifically, there was such strong leadership on that team. I mean, better than anyone. What about that team do you think elevated it from that category of good to, or even great to really elite and to be a championship level team?
I do think it was leadership. I really do. We, as a senior class one, I think we had a good sized senior class still there. We'd all been through the ups and downs, and we were ready to take that next step. And we had a couple younger guys come in that just were ready to step in and not try to live a college life, try to live the life of, academics and football, and just kind of focus more on that, where they were more concerned with winning than, are we going out and partying tonight, that kind of stuff. So I think that was but that started with the leadership, and it started with our captains and just the guys that we had there that were willing to sacrifice everything else just to win on the field.
So Isaac, we're going to throw some photos up on the screen here and just ask you, when you see these photos and you kind of reminisce about your time playing, what are some of the things that go through your mind?
This one here just drives me nuts. I was thinking, missed the ball. 4th and 15, I almost dropped a stinking ball. I love being able to look back and just knowing that as a young kid, what I wanted in life in terms of to play football at a big school, to play in the NFL. I was a fat, pudgy man there. That's what I look like there. Jeez.
That's an Orange Bowl champ right there.
That's right. But just to be able to get to that level, it's exciting. I love it. For me, my girls are diehard Penn Staters, have never stepped on campus. So it's fun to look back and see. I watch. My girls were Googling me, or somebody was, I don't know, probably last year at some point, and I saw plays, highlights come up that I didn't even know I made. I couldn't remember, right? So it's like, it's fun to go back and look at all these.
Well, part of your response led me into what I wanted to ask you next. You talked about kind of living out your dreams. Yeah. How personally satisfying was it to come to, a big time college football program like Penn State, get your degree, go out on top and in many ways kind of lead the program back to where it always was?
Very satisfying for me. I came from a small school. I graduated with 95 kids. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I was the first one to ever go to that level of football. I mean, for me, it was very satisfying to be able to achieve something I set as a goal in front of myself. A lot of times, especially that lofty of a goal, you don't get that chance, right? You can continually strive for it, but you don't always necessarily get the chance to achieve it. And I was lucky enough to have the opportunity, and lucky enough to have coaches that put me in a position to succeed. And, it's very, I think you're 100% right. After we left that class, I think that's the one who really, the program started going the right direction until the nice big speed bump, but it's back, right? And it's fun to see. It's fun to be a part of. It's fun to sit at home and watch on Saturdays and know that we have a chance to win. It's fun to bust my friends' chops, especially when we beat them. It's great. It's fun to be a part of a winning program.
And a big part of that winning program, playing at Beaver Stadium. I mean, the 2005 game against Ohio State, largely considered, one of the most exciting, iconic games in program history. What do you remember about specifically that game and maybe the atmosphere that you guys played in front of?
Oh, the atmosphere is always incredible there. Beaver Stadium's amazing all the time. If I think of that game, the first thing that pops in my head is Troy Smith on his head. That's the first thing that pops in my head every time I think of that game, which was awesome. And then Paxton going after the ball with his little alligator arms. But the atmosphere that's created there, and I can't remember if that was a whiteout or not. I think it was, but the whiteouts, all of those, it's insane. When I think atmosphere, and I think of, what the most impactful atmosphere that I encountered while I was there has to be my freshman year. My first game I ever ran out of the tunnel was against Miami, and that Miami team was ridiculous. But to run out in front of 110,000 people when you've grew up in a school that had 95 kids in our grade, it was incredible. And the students and the fans and just everything that is the energy put forth into those games from everybody, from the students and fans and faculty and everything, staff it's just amazing what you're a part of when you're on that field.
Isaac, were you talking about, was that the game where the Adam jogged out of the tunnel against Miami?
Was that against Miami? He did that? I think that was it against Miami?
01.
Yeah. 01. That was my freshman. But that team, the Miami team was ridiculous. I mean, insane. And hence the score provided the reason of that. But yeah, that was just awesome. Adam running out of tunnel, then all of that. I mean, it was incredible.
How do you describe the bond and the camaraderie that exists between you and fellow lettermen?
Yeah. You really can't. I mean, it's as somebody who's played at that level and then, had an opportunity to play in the NFL, the locker room side of the game, you can't emulate. It's just, it's all cheesy and it's all cliche, but you really go through a type of, by no means would I say it's war, but a type of war with these guys that you just can't find anywhere else. And unless you've been through it, you don't understand it. You don't get it. So it's a lot of fun being around these guys. I see Paul Posluszny all the time. He lives down here in town. One of my best friends and roommates from college, we worked together at Geo Vendemia. We work for the same company. And my other roommates, we stay in touch all the time, but that's Paul Cronin and Chris Ganner. We constantly have a chat, but like those guys, I get to physically see Paul all the time and Geo when we go to work meetings. So it's just, you can't recreate what guys who've played together and or females in their sports have gone through, and you just can't recreate it.
Oh my goodness. I didn't put that together. So I mentioned this at the top. Isaac, you're a senior account executive with the Sarah Surgical there in Ponte Vedra, Florida. Yeah, Puz, like he lives in Florida. He was actually on the live show a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So when you and Puz get together, I mean, how much are you guys talking football and how much are you guys just, kind of giving each other the business?
It's 50-50. I bust his chops all the time. I go back to literally, one play where in a practice, and because it drives him nuts. He's so competitive. I mean, I'm too, but like he's another level. And, there's one specific play in practice where I made a move off the line and got past him and caught it, for like a, 30, 40-yard touchdown just in practice, whatever. And I bust his chops about that all the time because he hates it. He still to this day hates it. He can't, like he'll want to line up right there and go again. Like that's just Paul. But no, I love that, man. Like he was part of the leadership, right? He was a year younger than all of us. But he was part of that leadership that kind of never say quit leadership. He gave you everything he had every single game at every moment. And that was infectious, right? Him and I, there was a lot my senior year, him and I worked out together, and that was just, I loved it. I loved working out with him because he has an infectious personality that makes you want to run through a wall for him.
How important is it to have that type of leadership on a team? Because, we talk with lettermen, and it's not something that you can just take for granted. It's not automatically going to be there on every team. How much was that something that you kind of appreciated in the moment and maybe you think back on a little bit?
No, it was huge. I mean, you can't, if you look at any of these teams doing well, any sport or any, in any conference, whatever, they're going to have guys like that. That's what drives the team forward. you can, the old cliche of, one bad apple ruins the whole barrel. And it's true. Those guys, those leadership guys, they're the ones that pull the entire program forward. They're the ones that pull the guys who may be hanging with the bad apple away from that, or help get rid of the bad apple. But you have to have that on a team if you're going to make any sort of run at a championship. And we were lucky enough to have a few of those guys.
You are tuned into the Football Letter podcast. We are talking with Isaac Smolko, Big Ten champion, Orange Bowl champion, 11-1 team in 2005. One of certainly the most iconic, the most memorable teams in recent memory, at least in the last half century. So Isaac, Penn Staters tuning in, they know what we're watching.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind right now?
So
looking back on this.
I wish I'd have caught it clean. That's what's going through my mind for looking at that stinking picture. I thought I did. But it's funny because there's times you have a feeling, hey, the ball's come my way, whatever it may be. I broke the huddle here, and I knew without a shadow of a doubt Mike was throwing me the ball. He didn't tell me he was throwing the ball. He didn't say he was throwing me the ball. I just knew he was throwing me the ball. And so the only thing that was going through my head is catch the ball. And 50% of me got that wrong because I kind of almost dropped the stinking ball. I hate that photo. I see it every time I see it. I'm like, man, I can't believe that got through my hands. But yeah, it was awesome, man. What an experience. One of my buddies now that I do some business with was standing on that other sideline. So I love to give him a hard time about this as well.
Yeah, I should provide a little bit of context here. And so that was on the catch that you made, Isaac. That was on 4th and 15, deep from within Penn State's own territory. This was the 4th game of the season, I believe, in 2005. Penn State, highly ranked team, on the road at Evanston against Northwestern, down 2. So, I mean, that was the play of the game. You could hear the announcer say that 4th and 15. And even you hear, alumni and fans, they talk about it a lot. And we'll just let this drive kind of play here a little bit, Isaac, and we'll watch it. It was
miserable there too. There was like 27 people in the stands, I swear. I don't even think all the parents of the players made it a game. They're like, we're not going to go. But it was cold. It's just a miserable game.
All right, so Derek Williams crosses the goal line. What's going through your mind?
I just wanted the defense to stink and hold them. That's all at this point. At this point, I'm like, guys, just hold them. We can win this game. Now, the defense did great, obviously, in the second half. First half, it was – God, I can't remember what that – you remember what the halftime score was? I think most of their points were from the first half, if not all of them. I can't remember. But so, yeah, it was literally just wanting the defense to hold them because we put ourselves in a massive hole for no reason. That team, obviously it's a Big Ten team, and they're always anybody's capable of winning. But we definitely had the team that should have won that game.
All right, Isaac. So we've been reminiscing a lot. Maybe let's bring it full circle here a little bit. The lessons that you've learned, that you did learn at Penn State, how do you see yourself applying those lessons as a dad, as a husband, just as a businessman now that you're carving out your own career? Yeah,
I can tell you one thing that every Penn Stater, at least every Penn Stater under Joe, learned is not to be late. If you were 10 minutes early, you were late. That door got locked in our meeting room if we had a 9:00 meeting at 8:50, that door was shut and locked. And if you were late, sorry about your luck, you weren't getting in. So that's one thing is, timeliness is a big thing that I've learned. One, because you should be on time, but two, to respect the other people. If you have a meeting, if you have something that you're supposed to be at, it's selfish to be late. You're not respecting the other person at all. So that's one. And then just hard work and dedication to what you want to do. My girls all 3 of them are really good at volleyball. They play travel volleyball. My twins are really good at flag football. They play travel flag football. And I'm consistently telling these girls, like, you want to take this next step and you want to be at the next level, you have to give everything you have now. These cell phones these kids have and we have are make it harder and harder for these young kids to be focused on getting better in whatever they're trying to do, whatever, sport or activity it is that they like. So being focused and working hard is something I'm consistently trying to teach them. And that's, what ultimately we all had to do at Penn State if we were going to be successful was focus fully in on that season, on that 2005 season. And, those are just things that, can carry you so much farther in life, not just sports, but in work, business, anything.
So how much do your daughters know about the career that you had at Penn State? Do they know that daddy was a big football star at Penn State, or they do?
I tell them I was bigger than I was. I mean, shoot, I'm not until they're old enough to do all the research and figure it out themselves. I'm going to make them think I was Superman, but no, they know. They've, seen some highlights and stuff like that. And they're all in at Penn Staters. They just love it. Like, we watched the volleyball team win a championship this year, which was amazing. My oldest daughter's 13, and the night they went down 2 sets to, was it Louisville? I can't remember. They went down 2 sets right there in the final few games. She stayed up until like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning and watched them come back and win. I was asleep. They got to meet Coach. And we went and played in a tournament in Philly this year for volleyball. They got to meet Coach up there. They were super excited to get a picture with her. So that was cool. But yeah, they know a little bit. And I only tell them all the good things. I don't tell them any of the bad stuff. I wouldn't show them that picture where it looked like I dropped a stinking ball. I just show them the video.
The support of alumni and fans. You talked about what it was like to play at Beaver Stadium. I mean, fans travel everywhere, as you know. What did it mean to have that type of level of support from alumni and fans, whether you were in Happy Valley or across the Big Ten landscape?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, no matter where we went, it felt like we were, kind of in a home game. There was always thousands of people there supporting us, which was fantastic. So the alumni has been great. Anything business-wise that I've done where I've come across Penn State alum, it's always fun and unique to have that camaraderie you have with some of your alumni, right? And that's going to be at most schools, I'm sure. But I just feel like I feel like ours is just a little tighter knit. I mean, it's, you get there, it's a certain subset of people that go to Penn State and that just love that place and love everything that comes with it and the history and all of that. And I think it's just something that when you are around other Penn Staters, there's so much to talk about because it's such a big school with such a little spot, right? So everybody knows the Lions Den. Everybody knows these places that you could go and hang out and what you did on weekends and weeknights or the library, any of those places. I didn't see the library but once, I think, so I'm not going to try to pretend. But just the different, the creamery, the things that other schools just they have to some degree, but ours is, I think, unique and just special because there's so little there in with such a big, huge population of people. Everybody knows everything. Yeah. It's kind of like a really small little school but there's a ton of people. Everybody knows everything, which is cool.
I'm smiling, Isaac, because my mom worked at the library for about 30 years. And so I love that I think you might be the first letterman to mention the library. So special shout out to Isaac for mentioning the library. Isaac, that's so well said. I think that might be just a great way to cap our conversation. Wishing you and your family all the best personally, professionally. And thanks so much for joining the podcast today.
Absolutely. I loved it, man. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Isaac.